When you first start out in art, it can be a little overwhelming. The gap in skill from what you want to create versus what you actually can create may seem insurmountable. And looking at the success and masterpieces from others can make you feel worse. But the path to learning art is one of trial and error, triumphs and defeats. It can lead to banging your head against a wall and being scared to pick up a pencil, while that unrelenting feeling of judgment, expectation, and reality warp together like acid taps beating down your sanity. Well, f*** all that. The most important part of learning art, or any lifelong skill or a hobby, is discipline and enjoyment. I mean, what do you draw? Why do you draw? I can't speak on behalf of anyone but myself, so I draw to create stories. So to stay motivated, I watch and read tons of things I want to do. And to stay disciplined, I set daily, weekly, even monthly goals for myself to complete. And throughout these last 2 years of study and procrastination and spiraling depression and among other things, I've discovered 3 things I think every struggling artist should do if they don't already. 1. Observe. Observation is simple, but so crucial. Go outside, go touch grass, go on a walk, and observe the architecture of your city, the woods, the world around you. But it doesn't just stop there. It goes along with books, just flipping through magazines to see the poses, the fashion, the creatures, scrolling through the interwebs. But you're not just observing because things look good and there's beauty in life, but you can also observe the works of others, all the while building up a mental library of references. It goes even further when you're drawing from those references, being able to see something and break it down into its simplicity. Such is the way of art construction. Number 2, stress-free doodling. Sometimes the blank canvas can be stressful. You don't know what exactly to draw, and even if you do, how do you do that? That's where stress-free doodling comes in. You can follow along with prompts. There's monthly art prompts for every month, and other art teachers and courses have their own prompts. And you don't even really need a prompt. You could just let your mind be free. It's what I do to every first page of a sketchbook, because the first page, some like to think, has an expectation to fill in what the rest is. And my mind says, nah, I'ma just make a squiggly here, squiggly there. Sometimes doodling can lead to an acknowledgement of a skill set you didn't know you have, like line weight or form, or nothing at all. That's the stress-free part of it. It's a throwaway drawing, something you don't have to share, but helps you get into the groove of drawing. Number 3, the ultimate practice. Everyone in art kind of practices differently, whether they draw from prompts, a program or a class, a book or still life. We all need to practice in order to increase our skills. But the way I practice, I call the ultimate way of practicing, because it helps reach your end goals a lot faster, in my opinion. Mainly because I know what my end goals are and who my inspirations are. So the ultimate practice is a 3-step method of finding a reference, something you want to do from someone who's already done it, or a beautiful picture and something you just enjoy looking at. Or it could even be a simple anatomy study. Literally anything and everything could be an artistic reference. Step 1, draw the reference. Look at it, and then don't look at it again while drawing it. Step 2, trace the reference. Step 3, draw the reference again while looking at it. Now let me explain. Step 1 is to figure out what you're lacking in. Step 2 is to figure out how the artist or thing in reference is actually portrayed. Step 3 is to discover what you have learned and still what you are lacking in. Maybe it's you get the proportions slightly off. Maybe you got the shape language all wrong. It coincides with the first skill of observation. You must draw what you see, not what you think you know, until you know it. And this is a practice, meaning not meant to be shared nor taken as your own artwork. But eventually, all these practices will build your skill set, which is an amalgamation of all the things you love and like, as well as your own little flair. Now, there's two ways of drawing and starting out in art: digitally and traditionally. Most of what I create will be digital. It's a lot easier to fix mistakes and has so many tools. I'll never use them all, but it's nice knowing they're there. So first things first, when starting out in digital art, learn the mother flippin' software. How to draw on a tablet or screen. How to use the tools, the hotkeys, the layers. There's an array of brushes and effects at your disposal. And simple stuff like this, which is impossible to do on paper. And throughout sites like CubeBrush, Ko-fi, ArtStation, and even Clip Studio, Paint Startup Window has its own shop, you can find many artists offering free brush packs and materials. And, not free stuff, but you might have a price range for your tool set. Or you might be like me and be Paul. Regardless, remember that experimentation is key to growth. Personally, I use Clip Studio Paint, OpenTunes, which is free, and I'm currently learning Blender, which is also free. I have a Deco O2 XP tablet because the price and pen is something a cheap motherfluffer like me likes, especially the pen. I have a problem with digital stencils where I accidentally press the button and have to disable it every time I get one. But this one, not only is it shaped very nicely, the button is more embedded, so it's harder to accidentally press. I am not sponsored by XP Pen, nor Clip Studio, but these are the tools I chose to use. But outside of that, there is so much software, so many options, from free to not free. Explore at your own risk. Now, drawing traditionally on paper or canvas, it can be even more stressful because the mistakes are harder to fix. Sometimes you end up throwing away entire sheets of paper, and that's a-okay. The materials you use can vary greatly from the type of paper to the type of utensil. I, for one, want to get good at thumbnail sketching, inking, and coloring, and watercolor. So I bought a bunch of sketchbooks, from sketch paper to mixed media paper, and I labeled them to keep my sanity in check, and then bought a storage box easel to hold all my utensils, or most of them. And over the next 100 days, or less, or more, who knows, I'll finish these sketchbooks. We'll have Sketchbook Saturdays, where I'll showcase how I've been doing throughout the week, and I'll also showcase the monthly challenges that I'm doing. So come along and draw along. And once you start progressing, it's important to not only stay motivated, but disciplined, as your feelings towards art and your own self-worth can sway greatly. But never let that stop you forever. If you never start or continue, you'll never go anywhere with it. You can't be an artist if you never draw. You can't be a writer if you never write. So I shall be doing both of these things. And everyone has fears, and the imposter syndrome comes for us all. But just remember, life is finite. We're all gonna die. So let's go out with less regrets, okay? In the next videos, we'll go over the basics and fundamentals, showing examples from artists that are way better than me for now. And if you would like to support the Patreon, there'll be more exclusive content for you, like character model sheets for you to download and draw over. Almost all my works in progress in sketchbooks, drawings, and eventually polls for my other YouTube content. For I not only draw, I make commentaries and analysis and animations, as my dream is to be a great entertainer and storyteller over any fucking medium I want. So that's all for now. Keep drawing and keep your sanity.